How's it going, ARX fans? Francesco Bologna here, and today we are going to be making a live Axem Rangers X episode. Now, again, this is from my friend SMG4, and he made about 2 videos of how he made SMG4 episodes. You know what? I thought maybe I should do something similar. So, let's get started. I got a scene open right here, and we also have the book, which I write all my ideas down to make a story. And today we're going to be focusing on episode 6 of season 3. So basically the episode is called The Summoning of R89. Now, for those of you that don't know, R89 is the new villain in the Axer Rangers S series. Now, one thing we do know about R89, he's a big black blob. Nobody knows what he looks like or where he came from. His backstory is very vague, but throughout season 2, we've been uncovering a bit more about him. So as the series presses on, we're going to find out more about who R89 is, what he looks like, what he did to portray both XRA and Ascension, as well as what he plans to do in the future. So yeah, this is going to be a huge series. Axer Rangers, for those of you that don't know, is the spin-off of Axem Rangers X. As you already may or may not know, Axem Rangers X actually ended this year thanks to the Throne of Immortals movie, which was the very last movie of the Axem Rangers X series. Hence, of course, the death of Master Falcon being the main antagonist of the original Axem Rangers X series. But here's the funny thing. Master Falcon and Lord Nibiris and, of course, Lord Apophis, they were merely puppets. They were just puppets. This enemy, however, from the Axer Rangers S series, he's the mastermind. He's the puppeteer among all the puppets that were controlled. In fact, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to say anymore because I'll leave the rest to your imagination. But let's just say that this Ranger played a very aggressive role in the Axem Rangers X series. And yes, I'm talking about the original Axem Rangers X series. I'm not going to say how because we're going to find out later on in the series, but let's just say he had a major impact on Master Falcon's life. And the impact was so damaging that, let's just say, he is the reason why Master Falcon's dead. So with that being said, let's begin. I'm going to go to the very first scene and... there we go. Okay, so apparently I dropped one of my pens.
All aboard the fail boat. Doot doot.
I'll pick that up after, but basically what happened is, in this first scene, we got Doraemon and friends having a sleepover at Sue's house. Sue is worried because she noticed that Void came into contact with the evil R89. Now, what's going to happen here is I already got the scene ready. I got Nobi on top of Doraemon. He's lying down on top of him. I got Doremi, who's kneeling down, ready to listen to Sue. Sneech is on the floor, just like Doraemon. Big G is pretty much sitting down. Sue is sitting down on the bed, so... yeah, we're pretty much going to have a conversation speech in this one. So let's just cross off Doraemon and friends having a sleepover. And yeah, this is pretty much the frame range I've done so far, if you're wondering. So let's begin the first scene itself. So yeah, we're pretty much going to have a conversation scene. And then we're going to jump straight into an investigation in one of the corporate buildings of Planet Apophis. So, with that being said, let us begin. I'm just going to grab my frame here, and here we go. But first things first, I'm going to go pink. I'm going to take Sue's color being pink, And by the way, a huge shout out to the beautiful and talented Monica Rochelle, who is currently voicing Sue Minamoto. But of course, I cannot just give a shout out to Monica Rochelle as well. I gotta give a shout out to Lena Valtapaz for Doremi, Sakib for Nobi, Doraemon is basically Omar, and we actually have a new voice actress, Miley Tellem, who plays Nobi and Sue's mothers. So, yeah, lots of new voice actresses and voice actors for this series. So, let's go to it. Alright, I got the Sue speech bubble in here. I just imported the sprite. For those of you that want to know, I took her happy head, but I also got two other heads. I got angry and scared, because normally Sue is the little girl who pretty much, let's just say, sometimes she's the hero, sometimes she could be a damsel, and sometimes she's just there as a supportive character. Today, she's going to be there as a supportive character, because basically the whole idea of this episode is Red and Void investigating R89. But of course, Sue being the little love interest of Void, she pretty much is worried about Void. So let's go ahead and see what we can type down. So, oops, forgot one more.
All aboard the failboat. Doot doot.
Damn it. You can never forget Doremi. So there we go, we have our first frame. But now, just before I do anything, I just want to save an extra frame before. This will save us 12, so that we have some room for all of this. Thank you all for showing up to my sleepover. Who's excited to watch some scary movies? And yeah, it's horror night at Sue's house. Oops. So next we're gonna have Doremi. Now Doremi, I'm gonna go for her happy face sprite. And I'm making it opaque so that I can paint her background yellow. And that should do it. So yeah, the episode starts pretty much with a happy moment. And now I'm gonna keep the yellow because I want to put in Big G. Or Jan is his other name. But here we call him Big G for short. I think I already know his intention. He wants to scare Nobi. And of course, Nobi is gonna be His expression is gonna be nervous, which he always is. And then of course we're gonna put Sneech. Change his color to blue. And we're gonna go for his own face sprite. And yeah, he's pretty much teasing Nobi by calling him a fraidy cat, so. Fraidy cat, fraidy cat, fraidy cat. And yeah, if you were wondering, that was Sneech's voice in my show. But I also play Big G. So yeah, I also play Big G and Sneech in the series. So, fraidy cat, fraidy cat, fraidy cat. So he's basically teasing Noe, calling him a fraidy cat, and then we're gonna have Doraemon counter-attack. Oh yeah? Who was the fraidy cat? Winged Wizard Adventure. And of course, Sneech is gonna go for plus eyes. Touche. And now we're gonna go for the second part of the scene, which is Sue being worried. So now we're gonna go for scared Minamoto. And let me just make her opaque so I don't want her eyes affected by the sprite. And the back bubble. And we're gonna put... Actually, you know what? Before we do anything, let's zoom her in a bit so we can add some dramatic effects. In fact, you know what I'm going to do for this one? I think I'm going to increase the sides here. There we go. Basically, what I want is I want to give some depth to the actual scene. So I'm going to take all the way to her boot. Increase that. There we go. We have Sue Minamoto zoomed in. So now we're going to write her speech bubble. And of course, she's going to be scared, so... Right? This is going to be 21. And yes, Void Ranger was traumatized when this happened. And of course, next I'm gonna give the floor to Lena. Dorani. Go to opaque. Change our background to yellow, and there we go. And for those of you wondering, Sue's name in Japanese is Shizuka. Hence why the enemies call her Shizuka Su Minamoto. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's give Lena back the floor. Don't worry, Shizuka. Void Ranger will be okay. I just spoke to him. Five. This morning, before he left, and said he had to answer a... Okay, now I need to come up with a serious parody. One thing I don't want to use is the 911 call, so I gotta think of a way to make it a ranger, an Axem Ranger moment. So instead of a 911 to planet Earth, a 1011 to Rangers. You have to answer a 1011 call. About a vicious beating in a news agency in planet Apophis. So to recap, here on Earth we have 911. In Axem Rangers, 1011. Alright. So now, with that done, let's give the floor back to Sue. And she's going to deliver the final line before we jump to the next scene. And yeah, you probably wondered I used the chiller move. So why did I use the chiller font before? Well, because I was imitating another riddle from R89 himself. I'm going to ask you guys to decipher it right now. So here you go. This is the new riddle of the episode. What exactly does it mean? You're going to find out later in the episode. But basically it says, black metallic. It will beat you till you bleed. A new religion that will beat you to your knees. Black velvet, if you please. So basically R89 is talking about a new weapon. And yes, whenever R89 unleashes a riddle, it means a weapon is coming. And the funny thing about these riddles is that every riddle is completely different per episode. So, I mean, the last episode we had, which was episode 35, the riddle was completely different. So every new episode that has R89 has a new riddle built in. So let's see if you could decipher it. What exactly is R89 trying to say? We're gonna find out later on. So let's go back to the actual episode. Void, please be careful, little angel. And let's be honest, Void is an angel. He is by far the cutest, purest, and kind-hearted ranger you'll ever meet besides Red. Now, why is Red not angelic? Because Red has done a few terrible things in the past. And this is before he joined Ascension. So, Void, he's never committed any crimes whatsoever. So with that being said, Void is the little angel that everybody talks about. And he is a really nice angel to have on your shoulder. Alright, so enough with the angel stuff. Let's go straight into the next scene. I'm gonna pop in the images, what's it called? As Thunderbirds 101 would say, the random test card. So what I do here is I would normally take any character at random that falls within the next scene. So in this case, I'm going to go Void Ranger. So, because Void is going to be in the next scene, I'll take him instead. Take his color to blue. And we're going to go for Void Ranger sprite. And now Void, obviously he's a carbon copy of Red Ranger. However, he's much smaller than Red. And of course, you cannot forget his signature hat. So now, to find a good pose for him, I'm gonna go for Void Ranger staring at the camera. Because why not? So, Void is staring at the camera. He looked good already, but he's missing his hat. Because of course, Void Ranger is not the same without his magic cap. And yes, Void Ranger is a magician. And he uses his cat to pull a rabbit out of his cap. So, yeah. You know what's funny? I'm actually thinking about doing another episode of Void Ranger as a magician, Magic Ranger as his enemy, and I'm thinking about putting Penn and Teller as the two magician judges for Penn and Teller Fool Us. I really want to make sprites out of those two. They're really awesome. Alright, so now I just changed the color to red. And this time I'm going to change font. I'm going to go for the classic test card font, Distant Galaxy. And I'm going to change the font size to 20. Meanwhile, in a news agency in Apophis. And there we go. There's our transition test card, which we use all the time in Axem Rangers X. Now, a long time ago, however, before this test card, let me show you what the original test card was. And I'm just going to do a very, very, very quick, crappy test card for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and it looked something like this. Red text, Arial black, 16, This was the original test card. I know. Uninteresting. Which is why I prefer the character. Alright, so now that we got the test card out of the way, let's jump straight into a new scene. We're gonna go for a castle courtyard. So, let's go see. Do we have a courtyard? Okay, maybe not. Let's just go into sort by category, date created. I'm gonna go for, here's a nice one. Now this one looks nice. This we're definitely going to use. So, here's what's gonna happen. Scene 2, Red and Void head to Capitol Courtyards to investigate a murder. So basically what Doremi was doing was covering for Void. She said it was a beating. It was actually a murder. And she said all of this just to protect Sue. Because Void Ranger doesn't want Sue to be involved with what's going on. And besides, Void even said it himself. The R89 business, extremely dangerous. So, let's begin the scene. First things first, we're gonna remove Sue's, no, you know what? Let's keep it there. We're gonna keep Sue's bedroom, but we're gonna close one of them, and we're gonna alter the sprites soon. But basically, we're gonna keep it as empty as possible. As for the room itself, it has to go, because I don't need it anymore. I just need this frame itself. Alright, so, Red and Void. We're gonna make a comp. And for those of you that haven't seen the last video, I basically work with comps if I don't want to do animations frame by frame. So, we're gonna go Red Ranger. We're gonna take him with the axe. I'm gonna go copy, paste, and there we go. Red Ranger, the hero of Apophis and king of the multiverse. And then we're gonna have Void using the same pose, only he is gonna be a lot smaller than Red. And of course, he's gonna have his cap. Alright, so comp is finished. Let's go ahead and copy, but before we do that, I want to try something. Do I have the sprite of the scientist? Yes, I do. Alright, so this is a brand new character that I'm going to be adding to the scene. This is a dead scientist, and the scientist in the scene was basically murdered by... Well, we don't know who murdered him. That is the question. Who murdered this scientist is what we're going to find out. Let's just say the one responsible has a connection with R89. So let's begin. Before we add the comp, let's add the dead scientist because we want to know that he's dead. So there we go. We have one. And now for a graphical effect, please forgive me for this. I'm going to add in a pool of blood because why not? If he's dead and you know, you need a pool of blood to prove it. So there we go. So we have Mad Scientist with the pool of blood 30. Now we're going to add the comp of Red and Void. So here we go. Frame by frame, but this time we're putting two characters in one. And notice how I'm working fast-paced, right? Well, that's because normally when I finish an Axem Rangers episode, I would normally take probably a whole day, maybe half a day, depends if I'm really into the episode. But I'll be honest, that last episode there, 35, it actually took me 2 days because I had to... No, sorry, 3 days because I literally had to find a good voice editing software to give that eerie effect that you all know of R89. And I'm not really going to tell you exactly what the effect is, but let's just say... you gotta pay to remove its ads. And normally what I would do is I would just turn off the Wi-Fi and the ads would be disabled. So, yeah, what's the point of paying for ads, ad removals when you can just disable Wi-Fi and have no ads running? Boy. companies. They just ask for money. Alright, so here we go. We got Red and Void on the scene. And now they're going to have a quick conversation. Actually, you know what? Let's have Void Ranger with the floor. Because Red Ranger might know a bit of things, but Void is the one that's going to be the curious one this time. And, there we go. So, Void Ranger. And yes, he steals Red Ranger's catchphrase. Holy Shamu. What the hell happened to this scientist? He's on the ground. With okay, let's see if I can remember. Should it be gunshot wound? Or should it be solar beam? To hell with this, let's just go solar beam. With solar beam wounds and blood splatter. Jeez. Next we're going to go red. Give him his signature 3D face.
He had to be thrown. There's no other way he could have been able to survive such a fall like that.
And then, for grammatical effect, Void is pretty much going to be, okay, wait a minute. What if the enemy is still in there? So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Invert his color. There we go. And we're going to put the heart rate monitor. And normally when we have the heart rate monitor, the Rangers know something is wrong. Boom, there we go. Heart rate monitor, 41. And now, of course, you cannot have an Axem Rangers X series without the signature airbag eyes. And now, just for time's sake, I'm just gonna grab the speech bubble from the previous frame and just import it. I'm going to make a square. And now Void Ranger is going to speak. And yes, he does call Red Ranger stepfather because he knows Red is his stepfather. And I don't know why, but ever since I started the Axer Rangers S series, I've been starting to act like a male version of Star Leader. Because, and this is before Monica Rochelle took over for Sue's voice, I had a voice actress, her name was Star Leader. She did a really good Sue Minamoto, and I've actually adapted it to Void Ranger.
So, stepfather? Wait a minute. This sounds pretty creepy, but what if the killer's still inside?
And yeah, that voice was Void Ranger. Not Void Ranger, the chibi version. Void, the adult. Well, not the adult, but...
All aboard the Veilboat. Doot doot.
But the teen. May still be inside. What say you to that? And of course, yes, they're gonna be... Sometimes they intend to use some British grammar because, I mean, why not? I've had a really healthy relationship with the British. Heck, my son my...
All aboard the Veilboat. Doot doot.
In fact, hell, my brother went to London. And no, we're not talking London, Ontario. We're talking London, England. And the Brits, they were really nice. So, yeah. I've adapted the British grammar, and now I intend to use it in Axem Rangers X, which I have been using since 2009. And especially for one important character. Would you like a lift in me, Laurie? And yes, if you're wondering, that was Green Ranger. Green Ranger, the only British Ranger to have a huge impact in the Axem Rangers X series.
Gadzooks. What if you're right, Void? But there's only one way to find out.
And yes, this is the first time Red Ranger says,
Gadzooks.
And just one more thing, just to add some more dramatic effect, I'm gonna once again take Void Ranger's airbag eyes and apply it to Red Ranger. Because, of course, what Void Ranger said was really shocking, and now it's Red Ranger's turn to feel it. So there we go, 46, Red Ranger has the airbag eyes.
Only one way to find out. Let's go inside, shall we?
Alright. Now I need a reception desk. Because in this scene, we're going to be meeting a receptionist. And here's what's going to go down. Red and Void head to the Capitol courtyards to investigate a murder. We just did that. Next part of the second scene is Red and Void speak to the receptionist to ask what happened. Yeah, I'm just adding some. I'm just removing some extra stuff. And here we go. So, let us begin. So, Red and Void speak to the receptionist to ask what the hell happened. So, let's get started. I need a desk. I need to find a good desk in this scene. So, let's search, shall we? You know what? Let's do the same thing we did before. Let's go date created. And I'll take this one. This one looks nice. Let's bring it down a little bit. Copy. Basically, one thing I want to do is I want to maintain the frame size. Because I want to make sure the frames are all the same. And there we go. This is good enough for a frame size. And now we need a character. We need a very special character to play the role of the receptionist. And who would be a perfect role for that? One thing I don't want to do is use a character that was already used in the series. So let's go with... Okay, you know what? I have an idea. A character we haven't seen anywhere in the entire Axem Rangers X series. Let me just grab... Where are those dogs? And yes, I think you know who I'm referring to. Yeah, these guys. John Paganis. And yes, I'm taking the female. Melinda. She is going to be the receptionist. Now, first things first, I'm gonna just alter her expression. And maybe do a bit of cleaning up, if I may say so. And we're gonna do this. And we're gonna do this. That ought to do it. Melinda, she is not happy. And we already know why. Alright, so 48. Melinda's big debut. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change up the scenery. We're going to put in... actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this animation instead. So the door opens from there. 49. I'm going to have the Rangers. The same Rangers, the same comp. And we're just going to change the graphics from near and far. So there we go. And now we're going to put their stills. Alright, so Melinda making her debut And here we go. We're gonna put in Red Ranger's speech bubble first. And let's see what we can do here. Okay. Let's go into Red's 3D space. Let's do that. And we're gonna do... There we go. Dark humor, pretty much. Red Ranger is very famous for dark humor. And for those of you wondering, John Pagani, the famous voice actor, very good when it comes to dealing with these dogs. So, yeah. Melinda... She's in the speech bubble. And there we go. But not in a time like this. Death threats. Weeks prior to the murder of secret operatives whose goal was to assassinate the scientist after he stole blueprints Nibiris Museum. Nibiris Archaeology Museum. Gonna take Void Ranger because we need a bit more void. Need a little bit more of that little angel. bring back Melinda. And now Red Ranger. What was inside those blueprints? Because we need to know. If they were blueprints, what were they for? Melinda for dramatic effect. Let me just position Melinda properly. Remove the transparency. There we go. Put her speech bubble. Blueprints to build an army. And of course, the big eyes. Alright, so big eyes. You're going to go right to red and to void. So, I'm going to go for red's speech bubble.
Melinda, you have any idea where these blueprints can be found?
You know what? Let's make a better Red Ranger. Much better. Okay, so we don't need this. Actually, we do need the scientist. Because we need to see exactly what happened. I hate it when I accidentally save over. Now I gotta go back to the previous frame and try to see what the heck I was trying to write. This will be a good placeholder. However, so we know there's going to be an interrogation that's going to happen soon. Can you please identify these suspects? And once again, for time's sake, solid. Linda, please show us the clip. So now we're going to play a flashback clip. And who better to do it than the only character that has a screen for a monitor, Computer. So yeah, Computer strikes again. So now we're gonna have red, angry face, and then we're gonna have void with his own face. And once again, he's a little smaller than red. And of course, the magic cap. So, Computer shows up. And let's do this. And yeah, just letting you know, computer does show up and just explains why he's here. And finally, the last piece. Boom. And now computer is going to reveal the flashback. But before I do that, I'm just going to put one last thing, and that is computer's face. Which is an Axem Ranger head. Finally. That should do it. Hopefully, for now.
Huh? Computer? What are you doing here?
Computer responds something unusual. And of course, everything he records, he stores in his memory. Including virus codes. Which I'm sure if you've seen System Failure, you know what I'm talking about.
Show us the incident, please.
Which is what Red Ranger says before we get to see what actually happened to the scientist. Which happens right now. Let me just quickly check to see if I saved this frame. And I did. So now we get to go to computer. Let's zoom in. Maybe zoom in a bit more. And there we go. This should be perfect window to show what exactly happened. 84. And let's begin. Alright, so now I need the actual scene. I'm gonna take maybe this. Yeah, let's take this. This is really nice. Actually, this also looks nice. But Unless, what if there is another, what if there's another, laboratory? What about a laboratory I haven't used before? Something like... maybe like this? Nah, too checkered. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, game of chess. I'm not going for that anymore. I need something that is eye-catching. A background that I haven't used before. Maybe something like this. Okay, maybe I can use this, for instance. Because this does look like a real laboratory. And you know what? I think I'm going to use that, actually. Because I've never used it before, and this will be the very first time I show it in the Axem Rangers X series. So, let's import this laboratory, adjust it to scale, and let's attempt what exactly happened that night during the murder. So, let's begin. We've got our dead scientist. And the scientist is pretty much obsessive with protecting his equipment. And now we're going to go to the items because we need blueprints. So, we will take... I'll take this. I'll take this as the notepad for the blueprints. And yes, this is what they're going to be stealing. So I'll just put that right there out in the open because obviously this scientist is stupid. And we're going to introduce the enemy. So, how do we do this? One thing I want to do. Ah, there we go. There's our enemies. So, we're going to have these new Axem Rangers. And yes, these Rangers are the new security Rangers. Unlike the actual security Rangers, though, these ones are more insidious and more aggressive. So, don't expect these Rangers to go easy on anybody because these Rangers will kill. So, 1, 2, there we go. 86, they've entered the scene. And yeah, these Rangers are huge. So, and there are 3 of them. Now remember what Void Ranger said. They could probably still be in the building. So, and then we'll just add that Lex Extra 1. There we go. So there we have it. We have all 3 suspects. And now we're going to create a new sprite for this character. We're going to be doing this. Zoom in. I'm going to take this piece. And I'm just going to rotate it. And that should do it. Whoops. Transparency. Do this. Rotate it 90 degrees. That ought to do it.
Ba 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 ba.
There we go. So, we got one suspect going after the blueprints. 2 are after the doctor. '89. Gonna put in the classic big eyes because who doesn't love the airbag? Actually looks funny on him than it does on the Rangers. And finally, the ultimate death laser in existence, the solar beam. For size purposes, I'm going to take the smallest one. Oops. So, 2 use the solar beam, 1 just goes after the treasure or the blueprint. So, they solar beam him, and then the next scene, I need an exterior. Because we need to show that this scientist was thrown out of a building. Now then, what kind of... Actually, you know what? I have a better idea. Let's use a building. Yes! Let's use a building I created. We'll take this. And yes, if you're wondering, this is a scene that I created using a 3D software called 3ds Max. Now, for those of you wondering, I have signed up with Autodesk to try out the 3ds Max 2020 beta. And with it, I was able to create this demo scene. It's not finished yet because I still need to add the sky. Plus, I also need to come up with good basic lighting for a scene such as this. But ladies and gentlemen, as you can see right here, it's huge. And yeah, huge it really is. So, with that being said, let's use this piece right here. Actually, you know what? Let's use this one instead, because this one has more variety. So let's do that. I'm going to add that to the scene. Whoops, no, not what I wanted to do. I want to put it on. There we go. And then in the next scene, '92, and then gonna put in glass break. Just gonna do a simple simple star glass break. And finally we have our scientist falling to his doom. And there we go. 93. 94. 95. 96. And that is the end. Scene is done. Alright, so we're back and we're halfway done with the episode. Right now I'm just adding Red Ranger's speech bubble. We're gonna just do a quick little speech after the video was played, and then we're gonna jump straight into the investigation. No questions asked. So let's begin. And now, of course, computer apologizes if anybody feels distraught. But it had to be shown, you know? Now, for computer's voice, I use Speakonia, which is this software right here. It's a text-to-speech voice, and what's beautiful about it is that I can put Microsoft Sam, I can put Microsoft Mike, Mary, you name it. I can even put the American TTS voices, Spanish, learn our Hospi voices, basically all of those. And yeah, so
Had to be shown to spread the word of these horrible suspects.
And fun fact, I actually wanted a voice actor to imitate Professor Snape from Harry Potter to voice computer, because that could have been an amazing combination to have an Alan Rickman impersonator play computer in Axem Rangers X. So, anyway, we're going to now jump straight to Melinda. She's going to actually introduce us to the suspects. So, Melinda, speaking of suspects, they're still here. Ranger suspects are still here. Do you want to interrogate them? There we go. You boys want to interrogate them? And of course, dramatic effect, void.
It would be an honor to interrogate
I'm trying to find a good... I want to find a good insult that would keep it as polite as possible. But what would Void Ranger say? It would be an honor to interrogate these vile fiends. That's much better. Alright, now we're gonna go straight to the main scene. And the main scene is... Alright, where did I put the... No, that's Sue. I am looking for the background. That's Melinda. Here we go. This is what I need. I need that historical place. Alright. So, here's how it's gonna go down. We got 3 R suspects. And yeah, I gave it away. So you know what? I'm just gonna tell you. These are R8 soldiers. These are the new security rangers, but as I said, they're more insidious. They are more destructive. And they are 10 times more powerful than your average security ranger in Axem Rangers X. These rangers do not play for fun. They play for keeps. So, Void and Red, beware. Alright, so now we're gonna add a new character to the comp. We're gonna add Melinda from the army of the German Shepherd Republic. So there we go. Melinda's there. Make her a bit bigger. And once again, we're gonna just clean her up a bit because I do not like her look. So, first things first, we're just gonna give her... Nope. Maybe a bit bigger. No. This one's better. Perfect. Now we're just gonna clean up her eyes because we don't want emotionless expression in this scene whatsoever. That ought to do it. Melinda, welcome to the pack. Alright. Here we go. So, we got Red Ranger starting. They're gonna go once again frame by frame by frame. And they're gonna stop at one point. Let me just override 106. And this will be the last frame. Now let's go back to the comp. I'm gonna put Melinda. Nope. Put her at the end. We're gonna have Red here. And now the interrogation begins. but I'm going to need a bit of help for this one. So, I'm going to pull up a reference. And normally what I would do is I would normally pull up, something funny like a meme or anything, something like SMG4. But in this case, this is something serious. It is not something hilarious. So I'm going to pull up the interrogation from Detroit Become Human video game. And that is going to help me determine what exactly Void and Red are going to say to these three suspects. So, let the interrogation begin. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, after a full hour of actually trying to attempt the interrogation scene from Detroit Become Human. We ended up with this little scene, which I'm about to show you guys. So, I'm not going to show you exactly what it says, but I'm just going to skip through them all the way to the last scene. So... And of course we end it with a chase scene. So now we're actually there in the chase scene, currently trying to catch this crook. So I got Void Ranger ready. Void Ranger with the axe. I'm just going to do one little quick comp though before I actually get started. I'm going to expand this. I'm going to give Void Ranger his cap, and then we're going to bring the comp into the actual animation. So let's do this, and he's almost good to go. Maybe dim down his cap a bit. There we go. So Void is chasing this soldier. Actually, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to override it. 44. Oops. 46. 47. 48. 49. And last but not least, 151. That should do it. So this scene, we don't need it anymore, so we could close that. And we don't need Melinda anymore because she's already in shock as it is. And we don't need computer. And then the next thing we're gonna need is, of course, we're gonna need the R8 soldiers. And let's see now. We need the actual... We could close this. We could go to the actual lab now. So this is the real laboratory. This is the scientist's laboratory. And this is where the chase ends, actually. So the chase ends with... him just staring there. And Void catches up to him. So there we go. So Void goes in. 153. 154. And the reason why Red Ranger is not here is because he's injured during the interrogation. Hence why Void is taking over. And finally, we have the final pose, which is Void Ranger having his axe aimed at the suspect. And there he is. Okay, let's give him the hat, and we begin the dialogue. $157. All right. So Void goes in with this speech bubble. Halt. R8. R8 soldier. You're under arrest for the murder Dr. Hollandfield. Confess your crimes or forever rest in peace. What say you? And like I said, I promised I was going to use British grammar. Confess your crimes or forever rest in peace. His response: is a shocker. About to broadcast a single in 3, 2, 1, and action. And it's gonna be this screen. It is going to be this screen right here that is going to have R89. Horizontal. Anti-transparent. There we go. 162. No. Oops. 162. And now, to make sure that R89 has a proper introduction, we are going to do that. There we go. Change it to... No, we're not going to change it to black. Actually, yes, we are going to change it to black, because then we're going to bring this into Photoshop. Now, for those of you that don't know, I actually do use Photoshop for frame compositing. If I want to put some, like some extra special effects, like for example, glows, smoke, green screen effects, or anything like that, I would go Fusion. So, now I'm just going to find my special background. There we go. This is the background I need. The background is a solar beam. So let's do that. Import, position. Let's lower the opacity a bit, and let us play with, let's play with perspective. Okay. And then we're gonna do this, 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 and this. And then the last thing we're gonna do is that. And then we're just gonna take this, 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 that, and that. Select inverse, delete. And now we have our official R89 broadcast. So now only one thing remains. R89 himself. But actually, I'm gonna cut it to this video because I do not want anyone to see what R89 looks like, so stay tuned. And we're back, and so is R89. So, R89 made his appearance. I also created an extra comp, so that if in case R89 needs to show up, at least now we know where he is and what he does. So I'm just gonna close the art comp, and there we go. R89 is gone, and yes, for those of you wondering, you did not see who R89 really was. And I want to keep that a secret until that fateful day. So, let's begin with the actual scene of R89. So I'm going to go for the darkest blue color because obviously R89's powers are blue. I'm going to make his speech bubble, and this time we're not going to put any icon because nobody knows what R89 looks like. So we're just going to leave it as it is. We're going to keep his color to blue because he does have blue fire. And finally, we're going to do the same font from Game of Chess. So, and for those of you that don't know, Game of Chess was the final season of the Axem Rangers X series. So, let's see what R89 can say. Alright, so we're back, and now I'm about to introduce the last part of the scene, which is... Alright, so let me just pull it up before I get computer here. Actually, I'll just get computer now. So, yeah, computer is going to be part of the last scene. And basically what happens is R89 delivers a speech. And of course, Void Ranger watching it, he's in total shock. He's traumatized. So what we're going to be seeing is a hate speech from the evil disciple R89. Now, because R89 is going to be delivering this speech, Void is not going to be happy. In fact, he's terrified. So after that, Void Ranger arrests the R8 suspect, and after that, they pretty much take him to Dark Conductor's lab, and everything else happens like that for the hell of it. So, let me just cross off the piece here of R89 delivering the hate speech because we're already there. So, Doraemon, Nobi, Sneech, Sue, and Big G watch the screen in horror. And Sue is even more worried about Void Ranger. Let's do it. Actually, you know what? Let me just quickly cross off one last thing. Because we're pretty much now at the end of the episode, so let's do this. So in this scene, and this is the last part of the hate speech, because everything else is going to be a bit vulgar. And not in the sense of swearing, meaning threatening. So, we got Computer. And yes, he will make a final appearance in Sue's room. And we're going to add in the extra comp that we spoke about, R89's comp. I'm going to copy that. We're going to paste it on the computer screen. Just like so. And we're going to have all the characters shocked. Starting with Doremi. She's going to be out front. Actually, let's find a better sprite of Doremi. Let's take this one. So, we got one. And then we got Big G. Actually, let's just put him with a serious look. Then we got Sneech. He's gonna have the terrified look, as is Nobi. There we go. Nope. There we go. Nobi. And of course we need Doraemon. And the one that holds everything together, Sue. Let's see now. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. But first, I need to check. Okay. I see why. So apparently, I need to go for Sue. Oh boy. Sue with the brown hair. Now, Sue with the brown hair. So now I'm gonna go for File save as. I'm going to save this as 172. And we're going to continue with the hate speech from there because we're going to transition between page to page just to have R89 deliver his speech to the entire world. And the reason why Sue is getting it was because she was part of the unfortunate sacrificial ceremony where she was a hostage to Abdil and Kasim. And yes, once again, for the third time, Abdil and Kasim, they kidnap Shizuka. They take her to the R8 ceremony where she is to be sacrificed by R89. Luckily, Void Ranger rescues her, and now R89 is delivering his hate speech to everyone, including Miss Minamoto. So, where did we left off? The rest of your lives in peace. But if you fools refuse to cooperate, be thrown in the dreaded blue flower. And for those of you that don't know, what's a blue flower? Blue flower is R89's ultimate weapon. It is the weapon he uses to kill. And it is, of course, if you've probably seen the Jungle Book, you've got the red flower, which is fire. And then you got the blue flower, which is blue fire. So, blue flower, R89's ultimate weapon. And so he finally says, end transmission. So he ends it by saying end transmission. Actually, think about it. End transmission. Either that or static. And finally, actually, you know what we're gonna do? Here's what I say we're gonna do. Nope. We're gonna go back to the previous frame, which was Shizuka. We're gonna do this instead. We're gonna black out computer, because obviously his work is done. Gonna save a copy of it. There we go. And now Sue is going to hug Doraemon. Because Sue is worried for Void. So Sue is gonna go straight for Doraemon, give him a hug. And there we go. How she is scared for Void. And she will deliver her line. And her line is... Whoops. That's R89's font. She promises to rescue Void. And of course, the final scene, we could get rid of Nobi. We could get rid of Doremi. We could get rid of Big G. No, don't save. Who else can we get rid of? We could get rid of Sneech. Don't save. We could get rid of Sue. We can get rid of the scientist. We can get rid of the screen because we don't need it. Get rid of Shizuka Hall. Computer. And the last thing we need is Doraemon for the scene. Everything's gonna be okay. I promise. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the final scene of the episode. So we're gonna put gray background because this time we're gonna add 2 characters. We're gonna add Dark, which is basically, if I were to make an anime, he would be, I'm gonna say Black Red Ranger with glowing eyes. And he's basically a shadow throughout the entire series. So yeah, that's pretty much Dark Ranger. And we're going to give him the test card. So we're going to end it with, once again, we're going to go Distant Galaxy. We're going to go for 20. And we're going to put Meanwhile in Dr. Ranger's lab. And the reason why is because they're going to start experimenting on this ranger, find out who he is, what he's doing, and who he's working for. And no, they're not going to probe him. Alright. So meanwhile in Dr. Ranger's lab, let's bring up Dr. Ranger. His name is Chris. Dr. Christopher Chris Rockland. And I'll take his human sprite. Only thing I need now is his lab. So let's see, I'm gonna take... Let's take this laboratory. Actually, no. Bad idea. Really bad idea. First of all, that was Nibiris lab. We don't want that. We want Apophis lab. So, what would be good place for Apophis lab? And like I said, I intend to use a background I've never used before. So, what to use? Maybe something from... No, that's the UFO. What about... no, not the... yes! Here, there we go. This is what I'm looking for. This is the laboratory we need. So now we're going to replace it with this. Let's do this. And there we go. So he is here. And yes, I know you saw the little one. There's going to be a huge, huge importance to the little ones. And you'll find out exactly what it is as the series progresses. But for now, this is good to go. Alright. So now we're going to put Dark Ranger first, because he's the one that's going to be watching over. Going to put Dr. Ranger, or Dr. Christopher Hyman Rockland. Maybe. Fair enough. And then we got Red Ranger, who is also going to be standing by the table. And there we go. So, the R8 Ranger was arrested, deactivated, and now they're going to be experimenting on him. And like I said, they're not going to probe him. They're just going to try to find out what exactly happened. They're going to have surgery on him, and they're basically going to piece together what he is and who he works for. So no probing required. So, 182, Void Rangers in the building. I'll just add his cap after. There we go, 186. And now we're going to put in the rest of the caps. I'll close this, I'll close that. And let's go back to those frames. There we go. There we go. Another one down. Another one. And that should do it. So now, this is it. This is the final conversation scene before we end the episode. So no, I do not need this laboratory anymore. All I need now are these 4 characters. So, let's begin the conversation. I'm gonna have Void Ranger speak first. And we're gonna find out what exactly they're gonna say. So, let's get to it. see now. Which almost rendered this R8 soldier inoperable on the field.
So he must have activated a self-destruct sequence.
He was trying to activate a self-destruct sequence during our interrogation. '91 and Dark Ranger.
Not likely, but possibly.
Okay, there we go. Not likely, but possibly. Void Ranger. How much time will it take to recover his memory chip? Answer: 2 weeks. Depends on the severity of the damage. And then we end it with Void Ranger with a zoom in effect. And his final line is good, because I want to interrogate this R8 soldier even further. Never before in the history of Axem Rangers X did one R8 soldier ever have character development until now. Now we're finally going to see a security ranger with actual character development. And it's Void Ranger who's going to exploit it from him. As we will find out in the next interrogation. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the episode. So, I'm just gonna quickly jot all of these down. Only the last 3 lines. And then we're gonna come up with the closing speech, which is what I always narrate. So, let's do it. After attempting to stop an R8 soldier from escaping the crime scene, (196). After attempting to stop an R8 ranger from escaping the crime scene, Red and Void made the arrest, deactivated him, and sent him to pathology. So, question number 1. What dark secrets kind of dark secrets will Dark and Doctor uncover from this R8 soldier? And what will happen during the interrogation between Void and the suspect? Oops. And here we go, the final scene. Close. Don't save. Don't save. Close this. Close that. That. And that. Don't save. And I'll take this piece as the final frame of the video. So here we go. don't miss the heated episode of Axer Rangers. And finally, we're going to do the all-time favorite. We're going to go for Axer Ranger sprites. Let's do that. Close. And we add it to the frame. $200 right on the nose. And with that, we're done. And now we're just going to add one last extra frame, and the frame is Hardcore Rules, which is the next big movie which is coming soon to YouTube. So, more matches coming soon, because this is episode 6. That means we are down to 9 episodes away. And no, there is going to be no match card for this episode. And the reason being is because to make the match card for this episode, we need one more character to make it possible. At the moment, we have 3. But what I want to do requires 4. So, let's just put the Hardcore Rules logo and we'll call it a day. So here we go. There's our logo for Hardcore Rules. Let's go back to our little frame here. Make it so bitmap 0. Transparency will be lost. I don't care. And with that, that's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, thank you all for witnessing this live stream. Thank you all very much. Goodbye.